level across the top. What's up and welcome to hell. 110-degree weather in the hot South Carolina climate we are in, and we are here to review some guns for you. We're going to be sweating. We're going to talk about a lot in this video, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So we got two awesome compact, subcompact, whatever you want to call them, concealed carry guns. The new one from HK and the Glock 26, and we're going to compare them head to head, talk about pros and cons out of the box, what you get with them, and at the end of the video we're going to tell you which one we like better and why. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So before we open up the boxes real quick, if you guys want to support us in any other way more than what you guys already do, check out the links down below. We have a bunch of great companies that we work with that provide you guys with discounts. So if you want to check them out, all the links and discount codes are down below. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's show you what the Glock 26 comes with right out of the box. This thing is packed full from the factory. You're going to get the gun, of course. You're going to get 3 10-round magazines. All right, I don't have 3 right here, but you do get 3. Trust me on that, on the Gen 4s at least. This is a 15-round Glock 19 mag. You're going to get a cleaning brush with the rod. You're going to get an assist loader. You're going to get a set of back straps, some with the beaver tails, some that are a little bit bigger or smaller depending on your hand size. You're also going to get a lock, paperwork, all of that good stuff. So let's pull the gun out. There's some kind of bird or something making a lot of noise, so you'll have to excuse that. What comes with the HK out of the box? You're going to get this foam padding. You're going to get the manual lock. All of that. You're going to get the gun. You're going to get 1 10-round magazine with the flush base plate. All right, that's how it looks. And then you're going to get the other one with an extended base plate. Still a 10-round mag, but you have somewhere to put your pinky on if you like that. So you do have that option right out of the box. You're going to get, again, a little assist loader. These aren't as good as the Uplula ones that we use, but if you need something in a pinch, these will save your thumbs for sure. And then one difference, as opposed to the standard backstrap system that most guns use, you're going to have back straps, and you're also going to have side panels. All right, so all you have to do, we showed this in the regular review. We have regular reviews on both these guns, so some of the stuff that we may miss will be in those reviews if you want to check them out. But all you have to do is punch that pin out. This is going to come off, and then your panels are going to slide out, and you can change the dimensions on the panels, and it actually can make a big difference in your hand. So that is a big bonus with the HK and the P30 series, or the VP and the P30 series, I should say. So let's get that box out of the way, and let's go ahead and talk about specs on both of these really quick. All right, so as you can see, both guns are aimed at the concealed carry market, which is huge. Specs really quick. On the Glock 26, overall length is 6.4 inches. Overall height is 4.1 inches. Width is 1.1 inches. All right, so it is definitely thinner than the HK. We'll show you that here in a minute. The barrel length is 3.4 inches, and the unloaded weight is 21.7 ounces. All right. On the HK VP9sk, 6.6 in overall length. Height is 4.5. Width is 1.3 inches. So I'm going to hold these out so you guys can see them side by side. We'll do it like that. So the HK is 2/10 of an inch wider than the Glock. May not seem like a lot, but a lot of these dimensions are very deceiving. But inside the waistband, they do make a difference. The barrel length on the HK is 3.3 inches, and the unloaded weight is 23 ounces. So you have about 1.5 ounces heavier on the unloaded weight and 2/10 of an inch on the width. It's a little bit wider as well. If we put them slide to slide, you can see That little bit of length on the HK is showing right there. That's not a really big deal as far as the dimension. And then if we show you a big dimension, which is the height, you can see the difference right there, and that most definitely makes a big difference as far as printing and all of that kind of stuff. So you have, what, 3/10 of an inch difference, same round count and all of that. If we put the extended mag in there, that's going to change dramatically as well to about right there. So this one, ideally, you would want to carry as your backup. If you wanted to carry it inside the waistband like this, that's your prerogative. That's, you know, up to you. But that changes the dimensions quite a bit. So this one is more suited for a backup or, you know, at the range type of mag. But it does come with it. Now on the Glock, you have accessories on top of accessories on top of accessories. You can buy the extended base plates. You can get upgraded springs and all of that kind of stuff, but just from the factory is what we're talking about here today. Now, when we talk about mags, on the Glock 26, it comes with the 10-round mags. You also can use the 15-round mags, 17-round mags, and 33-round mags as well. So they're all compatible with this one. On the HK, right now you just have the 10-round mags. If you have a full-size HK or a P30, you can use the 15-round mags. In November of 2017, this year, they're going to be offering 13 and 15-round mags with the sleeve extensions. They're not like this from what I've seen in the book anyways. They show a straight base plate, which we'll talk about this base plate here in a little bit, but that's the way they show them. They don't show them with the little finger groove. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about the features here really quick. HK is loaded with features. Front and rear slide serrations. You have a 1913 style Picatinny rail. Squared off trigger guard. It is serrated in the front. On the underneath of the trigger guard, one thing you'll notice compared to the Glock, you have this really high undercut. On the HK, you can't do that because of the way the magazine release is. All right, the German style paddle magazine release. It's great because it's fully ambidextrous, but you don't get that undercut in the frame. So you're going to notice that whenever you're gripping up, choking up on the gun, you can really get this finger, you know, higher up in the trigger guard. It leads to a little bit more comfort. That's definitely one thing that I noticed anyways. Very slight finger grooves in the front. You have a little bit of an indentation right here, so you can just kind of yank that mag out if it gets stuck in there for whatever reason. On the underneath, you have a lanyard hole. You have your side panels, back straps. We already talked about that. Fully ambidextrous pistol. So left-handed shooters, you can make this pistol comfortable for you. If you're not comfortable with right-handed setup guns, which most guns are, you know, right-hand only, or you can just swap the magazine release, no slide stop, you know, whatever. On this gun, you have your slide stop on the left and the right-hand side of the pistol. It looks a little bit different, but it works just the same. Me being a right-handed shooter, I can still, you know, pretty much work it. Not as good with my right hand, of course, but you do have that option, and it comes on the gun. That is pretty great. Your extractor right here. One thing is whenever you put a round into the chamber, you're going to see a little bit of red showing there. You can actually see it right there, but it's not a very good indicator. You always want to check anyways just to make sure. You also have a striker indicator on the back. So whenever you go to pull the trigger, you drop the striker, that goes away. One very cool thing on this gun is you have these little charging gears. So these are removable. If you drift out the sight, you can remove these. But these things are great when your hands start sweating on a day like today where it is just brutally hot. These things come in handy, and you can even see my hand kind of slipping off even then. These things, I really do like them a lot. You have the luminescent type sights. You can get this gun with or without night sights. These sights, they're okay. They're not my favorite. When you get ambient light on them, they do really shine bright, a lot brighter than what you're seeing right here. Steel sights, dovetailed in the front and in the rear. So you have a lot of options on this. We'll talk about the triggers after the shooting part of the review. On the Glock 26, it's the complete opposite. As you can see, both guns, they look very different. The Glock is very plain, and that's a part of its attraction. A lot of people love that it's just very simple. you know, to use, and that's something we'll touch on later as well. But in the front, no spot for a rail or anything like that. You have a squared off trigger guard, serrated in the front. You have more of a divot right in here compared to the HK. We talked about the undercut in the trigger guard. Slight finger grooves in the front as well. On both guns, one thing that we didn't mention is the grip texturing is very different. On the Glock, you have these little pyramid style texturing. They call it a rough texture. It's really not. On the HK, you have these little squigglies all the way around. So you kind of see the difference there. When it comes to shooting, when it's hot, sweating, all that kind of stuff, this does a much better job of keeping the gun locked in your hand. That's just something I'll say. That's something that you can easily fix with Talon grips or whatever you want to use. You have your channels right here. All you got to do is punch this pin out and then slide your new back strap in its place. Just serrations on the rear, like most guns are. Takedown notches right here. Slide stop, very small, very minimal, just like this gun is designed. On the other side, it is not fully ambidextrous, but you can reverse your magazine release, so that is a great thing. The extractor, again, will protrude a little bit once you have a round in the chamber, but it's not painted red or anything like that. The sights I upgraded. These are the Trijicon HDs. I love them. I think they do an amazing job. They're night sights, blacked out in the rear, really bright orange dot in the front. These things do a fantastic job. From the factory, even though these aren't my favorite sights, you're going to have Glock sights on this. So most people are going to upgrade those sights. That's an extra cost right out of the box. You don't have to, but most people I feel will. So you have two very different guns. You know, the HK is a smaller version of the full size, and it kept all of the features that made the full size really popular, which is great. One thing we didn't talk about is your takedown lever is right there. So you have a lot going on with the HK, but it seems like all of the features and functions of the gun actually lend itself well. They actually all have a purpose, which is great. The Glock is just going to be very minimal in its approach, where from here you can upgrade and do everything you want to do. All right, let's talk about the way they carry really quick. It's kind of unfair right now because we do not have a Tolster holster for the VP9sk. I know they're working on it. Eventually we will have one, hopefully very soon. With the Glock 26, I've been carrying this one for a while in my Tolster holster. Absolutely love these things. You know, I just can't say enough good things about them. But carrying this gun is very similar to carrying a shield. Really, it is. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit heavier. I'm not going to say it's as comfortable as a shield, but it is very close. You have a very short grip. For some people, that might bug them while you're shooting, but for carry, this thing is fantastic when it comes to the compact type of size. They call it a subcompact. But really it's like in the M&P XD Mod 2 type of size or size range. But this thing is a dream to carry. I can't imagine the HK being any harder to conceal. You have a little bit of extra length in the grip. That's going to make a difference. And you have a little bit wider of a gun, a little bit heavier. So once we get a holster for it, we'll kind of go over that. We'll do a separate video once we get a Tolster holster for it. But as far as right now, I would say, even without carrying this thing, the Glock's going to be a little bit more comfortable to carry, but not by much. So that's just something you're going to have to experiment with, depending on what type of holster and setup you want to run. All right, let me show you how they break down here really quick, and then we will get to the shooting. With the Glock, it's really easy. Make sure it's clear. Pull the trigger, cheat back on the slide, pull down on these tabs, and it comes right off. HK is just as easy. Lock the slide to the rear. Push this down. You don't have to pull the trigger, you just pull it right off. All right. HK, dual captive recoil spring. One thing that HK has is it's all steel parts, including the springs and pins, and then they have their hostile environment finish that they put on everything. So there's the dual captive recoil spring. There's the barrel on the Glock. This is a polymer guide rod, and you can see it's a dual captive spring. And there's the barrel. Striker block on the Glock is right there. On the HK, you can see your striker block, how that works. It's a little bit different. This gun is made in Germany, and the Glock is made in Austria. At least mine is. On the inside, looking at the frames, see how big and bulky these frame rails are on the HK compared to the Glock. Both guns are known for being reliable though. I don't think it's a question of reliability or strength. They're just different, a little bit different in design when it comes to that. So overall, both guns, if you're a new shooter or whatever, being able to take the guns apart, clean them, and all of that is going to be pretty simple. HK, put it back together. Slide that in. Slide this on. Push that up. Function check. And function check. So both guns, very easy to clean, very different in the way they approach their features and all of that kind of stuff. Let's show you guys how they shoot and all of that. Then we will come back, see you guys, talk about pros and cons and which one we like better and we feel is a better platform. We will see you guys in a minute. Good.
Oh, it hit me in the forehead.
Headshot. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Both guns are great shooters. And one thing I know is probably going to come up, people were doing testing with the original VP9 in water and sand and all that kind of stuff. For its purpose, most people are going to have this in a holster by their bedside, all of that kind of stuff. I would trust my life to this thing. Both guns are reliable. I don't think there's an issue with any of that. If you want to test it further, it's good to know that, hey, your gun can, work in water or dirt, sand, whatever. It's good to know that. It is. And they're good to watch those types of videos. But most people are not going to be doing that with their guns. So I think under normal circumstances, both guns do a fine job. They're reliable and all of that. One thing we noticed with the HK, it's all the way around better groups, easier to shoot, especially with the extended mag. Now, personally, I don't like this magazine because of the position where my pinky falls. It kind of falls right on the base right there. And you can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to extend it out. Some people like this mag. I personally did not like the extension, but it does a fine job. It seems like this gun is a big advantage for the Glock platform for sure. Let's go ahead and try the triggers. Let me show you how they look here really quick. You have a little dingus right there on the trigger. You have a little bit of take up, you hit the wall, and you're going to feel a little bit of creep in the trigger. And then it breaks, reset, right there. As far as the weight, let's test the weight out really quick. £5 pounds, 10 ounces, kind of sliding around on the trigger there. 5 pounds, 3 ounces, so right there in that range. On the HK, £5 4 ounces. £5 8 ounces. So right at the same range on the VP9sk. You have, again, a little dingus right there. You hit a wall. And from there, it just breaks. Not a whole lot of creep or anything in the trigger and the reset. Right there. So they both have great triggers on them. This one feels, to me, like it's a little bit better. A little bit more consistent. But both of them do a fine job. The triggers are just fine on each one. I don't think you would have to mess with either one at all. So both reliable, both pretty good shooters for sure, especially considering the size of gun we're talking about. A lot of pros and cons on this video are going to be based on just the comparison alone. So what I mean is that some of the pros and cons we wouldn't normally have, but when we're comparing them against each other, there's going to be some pros and cons that that might sound weird to you, but we'll kind of explain them as we go along. So let's start with the 26. First of all, you get 3 mags with the gun. Compared to the HK, that is definitely a pro. Weight to size capacity ratio. Glock is pretty much unmatched in this category. You have 10 round magazines, you have a gun that's shorter than a shield and a little bit wider than one, with all the compatibility of the full size guns. To me, that's just awesome. Weight, size, capacity ratio, Glock hands down wins that. It's a lighter gun. It's a shorter gun. You have a better aftermarket with the Glock 26, and you have more magazine compatibilities like we've talked about before. Great shooter for the size of gun. Traditional magazine release is going to be a pro for most American shooters compared to the paddle style. I don't mind the paddle style, to be honest with you, but this is definitely a pro compared to that one for the American market. Reliability, so many testers and reviewers have put this thing through the ringer and they still continue to run. That doesn't mean they don't ever have jams. That just means that they are very consistent in running and being reliable. Overall, a very comfortable and great shooting concealed carry gun. On the HK, one of the big things for me that I really like are the charging ears. These things are definitely a pro. I would say if I could have them on all of my guns, I would probably put them on there because they really do come in handy. The grip panels, the texturing, the fact that you can customize this to your liking is a pro compared to the 26. Having the backstrap option is great, and when you don't have it, you kind of feel cheated a little bit, I guess you could say, because most guns have that. But having this option where you can change the side panels and everything is just awesome. To me, this is a better trigger, better shooter, better shooting gun than the 26. A little bit easier to control. The sights, even though these aren't my favorite sights, compared to the 26 and what they give you stock, these are definitely better sights. Fully ambidextrous, so left-handed shooters. Most left-handed shooters say that they adapt to a right-handed shooting gun anyways, but If you don't want to and you don't mind the paddle magazine release, this is going to be a great option. And this is just a more option loaded concealed carry gun, but it's not overbearing. I feel like all the options, slide serrations, pick rail, everything lend itself to a useful purpose, and it's not just too much and gaudy looking. So I think there's a nice balance there with all of the features. Of course, that doesn't come without its cons. Again, the mag release, for I think most American shooters, they're not going to like this. They would probably prefer a button style. Again, I don't mind it, but it's just something I want to point out. Size compared to the 26, I think they hit a really decent balance with the size on this gun and making sure that it's separated from the full-size HK enough to be able to call it a subcompact. But compared to the 26, it's still bigger, still heavier, so it's just it definitely is a con. And the lack of the aftermarket mag compatibility and all of that compared to the 26 is a con. Now the 26 has gone through multiple generations. It's been out for a long time. It's had time to catch up with the aftermarket, and eventually the HK, the VP9sk, will as well. And what about the cons on the 26? Every gun has them. This one, the main one for me, are the sights they give you with. Hopefully in the future they will just upgrade the sight straight from the factory. You can get this one with night sights. As far as pricing, that's something I didn't talk about. I want to touch on really quick. On the Glock 26, I paid, I think, around $550 for this one. The VP9sk, I paid $549. So, $550 on both of them. Keep in mind with the 26, if you want to upgrade the sights, that's going to be an extra $100, $150 depending on where you shop and which ones you get. So very close in price, but that's just something you want to consider on the 26. No front serrations. They actually do come in handy whenever you're doing press checks, whenever you're sweating and all that kind of stuff. They can come in handy for sure. Not a huge con, but compared to the VP9sk, it definitely is a con, and it's not fully ambidextrous. So you can reverse this, but your slide stop is not on the other side. So one thing I want to mention on the cons about the Glock 26 anyways is one thing I've noticed is that the slide, man, this thing scratches up so easily. It's been in and out of a holster. That's going to lead to a little bit of slide wear from any holster, but just abnormal wear on the front of this thing. You can see how it's kind of beveled there at the front. And just not only that, just discoloration in general. You can wipe this away 100 times and it still comes back on the slide. I am not impressed with the finish on the Generation 4 Glocks at all. It's just something I wanted to point out. I don't know how this is going to do once we get it in and out of a holster, but I'm going to assume, and I'll come back and I will redo the video if it is not true, but I'm going to assume this is going to hold up better than the finish on the Gen 4 26. It's just one of those things I wanted to point out to you guys. One thing about using the guns too is the slide serrations on the VP9sk. They're wider than the Glock 26 and make it easier to charge the gun. All right, so just totally forget about the front serrations for now. Just using the rear serrations because these are wider. They're cut a little bit deeper, it seems, and they're just easier to charge the gun. Even forgetting the ears, the front serrations, and all that, it just seems like they work a little bit better than the ones on the Glock. Now, when your hands aren't sweating, if you're just in a gun shop checking these guns out, it's probably something you're not really going to notice. But when your hands start sweating, man, especially in this type of climate, you can really notice the difference there. Also, one thing, while we were shooting, using the magazine release, a lot of people may ask about using this and getting accustomed to it. If you're, depending on which hand shooter you are, with me, I keep my shooting finger up here and I hit it with my middle finger and it drops freely. The mags in this gun, they don't hang up. They're metal mags. They fall freely. On the Glock, one thing I wanted to point out is these mags are going to stick a little bit. So a lot of the times, I will just pull the mags right out as opposed to doing that, because the polymer on polymer, it does not work as well as the VP9 does because of the metal mag. So, but using this and getting accustomed to it is not that big of a deal. It's just something you want to make sure you train and you're accustomed to do it before you carry the gun. In case you ever had to reload, that's something you don't want to be fumbling around with. Man, I told you guys we were going to talk about a lot. We've compared a lot between the two guns, but which one do we like better? Me and Mrs. Heckshot, literally, she wanted to see which one I picked. We didn't even talk about this before the video at all. I went to go choose this one, and she was shaking her head, nodding in agreement. We both like the VP9sk better. Overall, better features, very awesome features that are just great. They just, I don't know, man. They struck a very awesome balance with this gun, even with the paddle magazine release. I don't prefer it over this, but I can definitely live with it. I just think they hit an amazing balance with the gun. At the range, we have myself, Mrs. Heckshot, my buddy Mike, and all three of us love this gun. That was our favorite gun of the day, I guess you can say. Just an amazing overall option. The only thing I would change on it, I would do the night sights if you can. It's like $100 more, but just a fantastic gun. So that's our pick. I'm not getting rid of the 26, y'all. I mean, it's not going to happen. You know, you need to have a Glock in your collection, and this is a great one to have. But if we compare the two to each other, I'm taking the VP9sk all day long, hands down. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I know I'll get a lot of awesome comments on this one. So let me know what you guys think down below. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for the support. And as always, hold them down.